Hey y'all, Brother Ken here, and we're back with another Destiny Top 5 video. This week we're doing the top 5 PvE weapons of Year 2. First off, I want to say sorry for the mix-up with the schedule on these. I was planning on doing one every Friday, but there's been so much going on, some other videos took priority, so we're going to get back on track once Rise of Iron comes out. I'll be starting off with the top 5 new vendor weapons in the expansion, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. Alright, let's get started with number 5, the Lord High Fixer. My roll comes with Steady Hand IS, Outlaw, Rifled Barrel, and Reactive Reload. So if you saw my last video on Crucible weapons, you'll know this is one of my favorite Crucible weapons as well. I got this right when the April update came out, and I didn't use hand cannons very much, especially in Crucible, so I took it in a lot of PvE to get some practice with it, and ended up being one of my favorite PvE weapons. I wouldn't say I'd use it in the raid very much, mostly because the fights are so much longer distance, but doing strikes or doing challenge Velders, it's awesome. It obviously does a ton of damage per shot. It's really easy to use. Mine came with Outlaw, so it still has pretty good DPS. And it was really just a lot of fun to use. Now, I didn't rank it higher on my list, mostly because in Year 2, a lot of the major fights, a lot of the rage fights were longer range. So this gun just really wouldn't stand up to other guns on the list. But I included it because it's my favorite gun these days to use, and I'm hoping in the expansion I can use it more. Alright, number 4, the Nerwin's Mercy. So my roll comes with Red Dot OAS, Counterbalance, Speed Reload, or Brace Frame, and Feeding Frenzy. So I got this bad boy in probably one of the first Iron Banners of Year 2. First or second week, I think it was. And I ended up using it pretty much the entire raid. The first few times we ran Kingfall, this was the weapon I used. It was solid, the range was good, it was really just a great overall weapon. It was great for taking out ads, it can do some decent boss damage, it looked cool, obviously that's important to me. And I had it, right when Rise of Iron came out, it didn't have a lot of weapons. I got this, and it worked like a boss. There's not a whole lot left to say on this gun that I haven't already said in my death metal weapon review. If you haven't seen it, there's some shameless self-promotion for you. Check it out. Alright, number 3, the ANILA SR4. I'm also including the Hung Jury SR4 in there. Mine came with the Torch Scope, Life Support, Extended Mag, and Firefly. So the original Hung Jury SR4 that you could get from the Dead Orbit vendor was one of the best guns ever in Destiny. Best vendor weapons, at least. I believe it came with the Torch Scope, Triple Tap, Extended Mag, and Firefly, I believe it was. I don't know, because I don't have it anymore. I got this roll, and I kind of needed to infuse something, so my Hung Jury's gone. But this is the generic version of the same gun, and I like it a little bit more, I think, mostly because I had more options on rolls I could get. This gun I kept because it was great in PvE, obviously. Extended Mag is great, has a good stability, life support comes in handy, and it has Firefly, which is just, obviously hilarious to use. So this is another one of those guns that there's really not a lot of downsides. It's a mid-impact archetype scout rifle, so it does decent damage per shot, but it's not too slow firing. It's really great at taking out ads, especially because of Firefly. The stability is solid, and I have the Torch Scope, which in my mind is probably the best Omelon scope you can get. It's really open and wide and easy to use, and it looks great. This is another one of those weapons that's just solid. Like most of the other guns on this list, it's solid and it's easy to use and you can't really go wrong. It's good at all ranges, has a wide variety of perks you can use, it's fairly easy to get, and you can use it in any of the content in Year 2 and it's going to work really, really well. That's why it's number 3 on my list. Alright, number 2, the 1,000-yard stare sniper rifle. Mine came with Short Gaze, Triple Tap, Quick Draw, and Firefly. So back when we were first running the raid for the first couple of times, we didn't have a black spindle. We needed a sniper to DPS bosses, and the 1,000-yard stare was one of the only options available. I believe I got this roll from a Rank Up package a long time ago, right when the expansion came out. And I kept it because it had a great scope, it had Quick Draw, which I really like, obviously it has Firefly, which I'm in love with, and Triple Tap. So, I don't usually use snipers for ads very much, so Firefly is kind of whatever. But Triple Tap for bosses, before we had Black Spindle, was amazing. Even after we all got Black Spindle, there's certain fights in the raid, like Oryx or the Daughters, where you really need a legendary sniper as opposed to an exotic, so you can use such a Malice. and this was my go-to. It was in my inventory at all times. I used it for everything. Anytime I needed a sniper, this is the one I used. Before the April update, obviously this was one of the few you could get that was higher impact. You can get the Irene, but I didn't have much luck getting a good Irene roll, so this was it. You know, I'm one of those guys, I'm really bad about hoarding weapons. I've got so many weapons in my vault, and I sometimes go back and I dismantle stuff to make space that I regret later. And I'm really happy my dumbass didn't dismantle this gun randomly at some point, because as it turns out, it's still one of the best snipers in the game, PvE or PvP. Alright, number 1, PvE weapon of year 2. F***ing swords, man. The exotic swords, how can we forget about the swords? They were brand new for the Taken King, and they were some of the most unique weapons we've ever seen in the game. You know, the 3 exotic swords, the Boltcaster, the Raised Lighter, and the Dark Drinker, they all had their own special abilities, and they're all unique and good in their own way. Like the Raised Lighter. If something needed to die right now, that was the weapon that you used. It was like the Gallarhorn of year 2. Then you had the Dark Drinker, which admittedly was my least favorite. You know, it was fun for, clearing out ads, and there were some times where it would do good boss damage, but between the 3 of them, it wasn't my favorite. My absolute favorite sword of all 3 exotics was the Boltcaster. Shooting lightning disc frisbee things out of your sword, it was amazing. It's like you're using the Master Sword from Legend of Zelda. You know, it did solid single target damage, but it was amazing at clearing out ads. And it was obviously the only sword you could use from range, which made it usable in more instances than the other 2 swords. And then you could still swing it like a normal sword if you wanted to, but man, why would you ever want to do that? Alright, so that's gonna do it for this video. It's been a lot of fun celebrating some of my favorite weapons of year 2, and I'm looking forward to doing the same thing in Rise of Iron. It's Sunday night right now, so we got about a day before it comes out, and I cannot wait. So, for now, my name is Brother Ken. I appreciate you watching. See you guys in the next one. Later.